Good to be Willow. This is the Dr. Willow Show. This is where we go over anything and everything that brings you closer into a relationship with your sexuality and your body so that you can feel more whole, more complete, and more one inside of your life. So here we are bridging together sexuality, spirituality, and medicine. I deeply and truly firmly believe that sexual energy is one of the most potent forms of energy that you have access to. And if you have breath in your body, then you have access to sexual energy. I don't care how low your libido is or how dead you think your libido is. There's always a way to bring it back to the surface. So today we're going to be going over the 6 main causes of libido and how figuring out which one might be causing a dip in your drive. So maybe you're watching this and you're like, yeah, I definitely have a dip in my drive. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to figure it out during this episode of the Dr. Willow Show. Or you might be sitting there thinking, well, my libido is pretty good, but there's always room for improvement. So tune in and really tune into which one of these 6 causes. These are kind of big ones. There are others too, but these are the big ones. And so which one is really, causing your libido to just kind of wane a bit? So, here's a little statistic for you. 80% of women have a low libido and 70% of them don't even know it, which means it's going unconscious. Like I talk to women all the time who don't even think about their sexuality. They don't even think about bringing it back to an awakened state. Like it's something that never really crosses their mind. There's too many other things to think about. And it's a can of worms. It really can be a can of worms. And if you've suffered from traumas or abuses, then it's a lot of times a can of worms that you do not want to open up and look at. So, give me some love if you're watching this live, if you're tuning in right now. Let me know where you're watching from. This is, I really want to bring this episode forward so that we can bring more consciousness to this, this lack of drive, this lack of paying attention to this sexual energy in our bodies. So let's really get conscious about this together right now, and let's uncover what it is that might be causing a dip in your libido. So if you're tuning in, let me know where you're watching from. Lucia from Monterey, welcome. Carmen, wonderful to have you. So excited that you guys are here. So in the next, I don't know how long it's going to take me to go through this, 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to talk about these 6 biggest causes of low libido. And the last one that I talk about is the most common, the most avoidable, and also the most dangerous. So definitely stay with me until the end. Stick with me the whole time because I really don't want you to miss that one. That one's really important. And so many women and men, more women, but men do this as well. This last one that I'm going to talk about, this cause of low libido, is totally avoidable, completely 100% avoidable. So I'm going to talk about that at the end. So let's dive in. The first cause of low libido I want to cover today is hormones. So hormones can get all erratic on you. They can go all over the place on you. And in Chinese medicine, your sexual energy is stored inside of your kidneys and your adrenal glands. So the lower organs in your lower back is where Chinese medicine views that your sexual energy is stored. We call it Jing Qi, Jing, Jing Qi. Someone write that in the chat box, Jing Qi. And so when we have plenty of Jing Qi in our adrenal glands, then we have this beautiful glow coming out of our eyes. We have a lot of vitality. We have a lot of energy, and we're present. There's a lot more availability to access core and grounding and presence in each moment. So having a lot of Jing Qi, sexual energy, filled up into your adrenal glands is not only a way to bring more vitality and effervescence to your being, but also it's a powerful way to heal your adrenal glands. So raise your hand if write it in the chat box if you've ever experienced adrenal fatigue or just really, really low depleted adrenals. One of the ways you could know that your adrenals are low is that you have a really hard time waking up in the morning. You're like groggy and heavy when you wake up in the morning, and you need to have coffee to get out of the doldrums of the sleep cycle. And so another way you might know is if this is a little bit more bringing in the liver, but kidney and liver very tied together in Chinese medicine. So if you wake up between 2 and 4 in the morning every night, there's also probably something going on with your adrenal glands. So, I mean, there's so many glands in the body. Your endocrine system is made up of these beautiful glands, these phenomenal, amazing hormones. And when you know how to baby your hormones, when you know how to nourish and take care of your hormones in a way that really brings everything back into harmony and back into balance, it's a complete change in your life. It's a complete 180 in the direction that you take your life. So, we could look at thyroid, we could look at pituitary. I mean, I can do an entire class. I could do a whole month-long class on each one of these glands, but really getting your hormones back into balance is primary. And I'm going to be going much deeper into this when I do my 2-hour workshop with Dr. Kira Barr on September 30th. That workshop is going to, we're going to dive deeper into, we're going to give you actual concrete practices and tools in real time, live via Zoom, where we can answer questions and be with you and give you real practices that you can do to bring your hormones into harmony. We will be able to give you all kinds of advice around how to bring hormones into balance, and especially how to bring sexual energy into your adrenal glands so that you have more vitality and more energy to even give to your sexuality, because you got to have some energy if you're going to start giving it to your sexual energy and building it and augmenting it and making it more, giving it more than what it currently is. So I'm loving all your comments. This is wonderful. Thank you so much. Yes, dead libido. I understand. And someone wrote earlier about being in a marriage. I get that too. I've never been married, but I was in a long-term relationship, and because I wasn't getting the satisfaction I wanted, I just kind of swept it under the rug. So anyway, hormones is number 1. Okay. So number 2, so would that be useful to you to have some practices, some tools, some guidance in really bringing your hormones into harmony? Give me a yes if that sounds like something that would be really useful to you. Write the yes right there in the chat box, my friends. And so the second one is like one of those things that affects your hormones more than anything. Can anyone guess what it is? I'll give you a second. Write it in the chat box. Number 2, second cause of low libido really affects your hormones, but also affects your mood, also affects your life, also affects your digestion, your immune system. Anyone? Can you guess? It's stress. Stress is one of the biggest sex drive killers. And I see this a lot when I work with men. If they just have too much on their plate, too much going on, they can't really get clear, grounded, focused, and centered, the libido is the first thing to go. And I feel like when I'm working with women, like they have a little bit more endurance for that stress. I don't know if it's because the corpus callosum in the brain is thicker in women and they can multitask a little bit more. Right and left hemispheres are more thickly connected by that corpus callosum. I'm not sure what it is, but women can maintain their libido with stress to a point, and then it's dead. It goes out the window. So, stress can come in all forms. It could be very, very obvious stress, like, shit, I can't pay my rent this month, or dang it, my parents are really sick and I got to go take care of them. Or, oh my God, my kid just broke his arm and I got to go to the hospital and take, that is like obvious stress. So there's that kind of stress. But then there's also this not so obvious stress that happens in all of our lives. And that just really has to do with all the distractions that we are swimming in, like, I have 6 messaging centers on my phone. Like, we got WhatsApp, we got Telegram, we got, Facebook messaging plus texting. It's like just having to check 6 different messaging centers is a stress on the nervous system. And I mean, I have it. And so I have all these counter practices. How do we live in this modern world and connect and be, engaged with one another in a very beautiful and meaningful way? I'm so grateful for all those messaging centers and apps so I can be in connection with my tribe and my community. But how do I balance that? So how do we find these sexual practices, these mindfulness practices, and also, uh, like herbs and things like that? How do we bring those things in so that we can have a balance in what we are doing? Yeah, this is so powerful. I'm so loving all of your comments are so fantastic. So yes, stress, we've got the obvious, we've got the not so obvious, and stress really affects your hormones, really affects your adrenal glands. I do treatments as well, right? I do acupuncture and craniosacral and massage. And when a patient is 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late to an appointment and they're stressing about it to get to me, that's totally counterproductive, right? They're leaking cortisol out of their adrenals, and then they come and they lay on my table and I have to replenish all that cortisol. I have to get their adrenals back into balance. So we've got to find ways in our day-to-day life to not carry those little anxieties with us. Okay. So the third one I want to talk about today is trauma and abuse. So this is very, very deep. Many people, I mean, unfortunately, the amount of men and women who have been through some kind of sexual trauma or abuse, whether it's physical or even verbal, is pretty vast. It's a pretty big number. Okay. It's 1 in 3 for women. It's 1 in 4 for men. And, if it happened early on in life, like if sexuality was not presented to you in a safe way early on in your life, then you might not have a reference for what safety is. And that's one of the most important things that we need in order to ignite our sexual energy is we really need to feel safe. We really need to feel connected. And that's true for men and for women, absolutely. And when you don't really have that sense of that reference for safety and respect, then it's hard to know like where your relationship to your sexuality lies. So that all has to get distilled down, that all has to get healed. That's a very vulnerable place to be in your relationship with your sexuality. And so that has to get extracted. We've got to get down to the roots of that level of trust, being able to trust yourself. When I do my 5-day boot camps and challenges, I'm always talking about the 3 things that you need to have in place for spiritual intimacy to take place are trust, vulnerability, and presence. And that means you need to be able to trust yourself to such a deep level that no matter what happens with that other person, you are still going to be able to come back to yourself. You're still going to be able to come back to center. Then you can be vulnerable. And then you create this trust vulnerability cycle between you and the other person, which is really valuable because that offers an opportunity for you both to drop into a deeper sense of presence. Because it's like, oh, wait, I can trust this person. I can be vulnerable and open with them. Now I can really sit in the presence of that, sit in the regality of that. It's such a powerful, geez, I can't even tell you. I want you all to get to that level with your sexuality because it is The way. It is the way. You want to know what the Tao is? The Tao is the way. This is the way. I'm telling you. So, Dr. Karabar and I are going to be giving some really potent, powerful practices when we do our Awaken Your Desire workshop this coming next Thursday. It's next Thursday, so almost a week from today on September 30th. So we've got the registration link in the chat box. We'd love to see you there. Even if you can't make it live, we do record it. So do sign up for that. It's totally affordable. It's totally worth it. It's going to be amazing. I'm excited to teach with her. She's an incredible doctor of, loving the skin that you're in. So she's not only an endocrine doctor, but also a skin doctor. So really, she's an advocate for, women are really, really loving the skin that they're in. So I'm really excited to co-teach with her. So give me a yes, write a yes in the chat box if that feels like something that would really be valuable to you to really clear old trauma from your physical body, because that trauma, that abuse, it gets stuck in the cells of your body. A lot of times gets stuck in the heart, gets stuck in the gut, and it gets stuck in the vajayjay. If you're a man, definitely can get stuck in the scrotum, also in the anus. I notice it gets stuck for men, and the heart and the gut as well. So we really want to clear that. Let me know. Does that sound like something that would be valuable and helpful for you? Give me a yes in the chat box if it does. So the fourth one I want to go over today is having children. So kids can be such a drain on your libido. If you're a mom and you're watching this, or you're a dad and you're watching this, you're probably laughing right now. And for moms, it's like, well, first of all, we've got to go through the whole pregnancy thing, right? And so that's definitely going to shift your hormones around quite a bit. And then there's this whole sleeplessness period for the next year or two, right? And anytime you don't get enough rest, that's going to affect your adrenals. It's going to make you more tired. I mean, I'm not saying don't have kids. I love kids, but I'm just saying they affect your libido. They will. That if you're a woman, you're having the baby, you've got the sleeplessness, your estrogen is going to change, and it can actually diminish your vaginal sensitivity. The change in your estrogen levels can actually make it so that you can't actually feel vaginally the way that you used to feel. So there are physiological things, and all of this will heal. All of this will pass, right? I always tell women who are coming to me, they come within a year and they're like, I just don't want to have sex. I just don't have a libido. I don't have a drive. I don't have a desire. But my husband really wants to. And I just always tell them, you know what? The postpartum period lasts 1 year. So your oxytocin, that love drug, that love hormone that comes from the pituitary gland down through your body when you have an orgasm or a good hug with a good person in your life, that oxytocin is supposed to go to your baby that first year of your life. It's really important for your baby to be getting all that focus and attention and oxytocin. So give yourself a year, give yourself that time, give yourself a break, have a conversation with your husband, get him on board with it, let him know that that's where the love drug hormone is going to be going. Not that you don't love him or her if you're married to a woman, but not that you don't love your partner. It's just that naturally your focus should be going to your child. And then after that, then you want to start a routine with your partner. You want to start, okay, we've got our intimacy dates twice a month at least, and we got to have the sitter come, or whatever you need to do to set yourself up for success. Just don't let it go to the wayside. Okay, number five, fifth one I want to talk about today is diet. So first of all, diet is important, but second of all, we are swimming in a sea of xenoestrogens. So again, diet relates to hormones quite a bit. Xenoestrogens are fake estrogens. They mimic estrogen in your body. They're in the plastic water bottles. They're in the soaps. They're in the detergents. They're in the air. They're really everywhere. And so one of the most important things you can do for your body, for your hormonal system, men and women, it's true for everyone, is a liver cleanse at least once a year, because the liver stores those excess estrogens. And when you've got all these excess estrogens flowing around in your bloodstream, then your body, your endocrine glands, like your ovaries, your testes, your pituitary, your hypothalamus, all of these glands in your body that otherwise make your estrogen, get the message that they don't need to make estrogen, right? So they're like, oh, we'll just take a nap. We don't need to work. We'll take a little break, take a cigarette break. We don't need to work. And then over time, they take so many breaks, so many breaks, so many breaks that they start to shut down. So every time I start working with a new patient or client who's got hormonal issues, the first thing we do is we clear the liver. We've got to clear that out so we can get rid of all those excess estrogens. And then from there, we can start to nourish. We can start to bring in the good stuff and start to bring everything back into balance. Ashwagandha, chaste tree, drenamine, all of these things that I love to use to rebalance the hormonal system. It's super, super important to get that body cleared out first. We got to clear first. And then, of course, we've got sugar. When I say sugar, I mean carbohydrates, not just like cookies and cakes and brownies and candy, but also pasta and bread and even gluten-free stuff, rice flour, even rice, carbohydrates. When those hit our bloodstream, they turn to glucose, right? So that's going to change your blood sugar levels, and that is one of the foundational pieces of balancing your hormones, is balancing your blood sugar levels. So making sure that you're not taking in so many excess carbohydrates is so important to your whole libido and how you feel about your sexuality. Of course, dairy, processed foods, fried foods, all of that stuff, you really want to take a close look at that. And that's something that I do when I work one-on-one with my clients, and when they come into my group programs, is we really look at diet. It's so important. Okay. Now, this is number 6 is the most damaging and dangerous, and also the most hidden cause of low libido. Are you ready? This is probably going to surprise you, but I see this all the time, all the time. And I see it in women of all ages, like from the early 20s to the late 70s. I see it across the board. I see it in men. And the number, I would say it's kind of one of the biggest, like I said, biggest and most dangerous causes of low libido, and it's neglect. So when you just sweep that libido under the rug, you're like, oh, I'll pay attention to it later. I'll get to it later. Sweep it under the rug. It's causing all this dust. All these cobwebs start growing around your relationship with your sexuality. Your libido is so low that you're not even conscious of it or thinking about it anymore. And that neglect of your libido is one of the best ways to kill it. Is one of the best ways to drive it down. So when this is done in an unconscious way, it really takes away from that creative spark, the creative spark that drives the rest of your life, your creative life force energy. And so then it starts to affect everything else in your life. It starts to affect the way that you show up for your kids, the way that you show up for work, the way that you show up. You just don't have that kind of light and that effervescence that you could have if you were using your sexuality as a form of medicine inside of your body. So paying attention to your vulva, paying attention to your heart's desire and to your body and to your sexuality as a woman, especially, is the quickest way to grow your sexual energy. That old adage, energy grows where attention flows. Energy grows where attention flows. So if you want to grow your sexual energy, you absolutely can. And you can do it from wherever you're at right now. So that's the beauty of it, is you can meet yourself where you're at in your relationship with your sexual energy, and you can grow it. You can really expand it and grow it. I mean, so does that sound like something that you want more of? Does that sound like something that would be really beneficial to you in your life? And can you even see how there are other aspects of your life that are suffering from this, that so many other aspects of your life that are suffering from this low libido, and when you bring it up into main focus again, all those other aspects of your life are going to start to shift and change. Let me know in the chat box if there's something specific. This is a great question here. We have what's something we can do at home for liver cleansing. So anything bitter is going to be really good for cleansing the liver. Burdock root, dandelion greens, bitter greens, anything bitter. Those are all going to be fantastic. Put them in your soups. If you wanted to do a milk thistle tincture, silymarin is the other name for milk thistle. You could do that. I like to do a full liver cleanse. I do them 3 to 4 times a year because I'm a diehard, and I like to clean my liver because I know how amazing I feel when it's cleaned out. But if you do want to do more of like a 10-day or a 21-day, just reach out to me. I'm happy to set you up with that. It's really powerful. Not only does it heal and cleanse your body, but also increases your mental capacity. So really, really wonderful. So again, we're going to be talking so much more and so much more in depth in answering one-on-one personal questions on our workshop, Awaken Your Sexual Energy, Awaken Your Desire. And that's going to be coming up next Thursday. What are we in? September 30th with Dr. Kiera Barr. I'm so excited to co-teach with her. So be sure to register for that class if it's something that you are interested in, because we would love to have you there. We're going to have a good time. And I just want to thank you all so much for tuning in today. It's been so lovely to see your comments in here and to see everything that you are sharing and showing up really vulnerably, because the more you can show up vulnerably for yourself in a group like this, the more that you can show up vulnerably in relationship, which is where trust and vulnerability are going to create an upward spiral in your relationship to bring you closer and closer to that spiritual intimacy that you deeply crave and desire. So I love you. I can't wait to connect with you more in that workshop on September 30th, and I'll see you soon. Namaste.